You feel it before you can explain it. She's still texting back. She's still being nice. She's still there. But something is off. The messages get shorter. Her laugh sounds lighter. Her eyes leave you faster than they used to. And you're sitting there, replaying the last few weeks in your head, trying to find the exact moment it changed. You start thinking, what did I do? Why does she feel farther away when I'm trying harder? Was she ever really that into me? Am I losing her right in front of me? Here's the truth most guys never hear soon enough. She usually doesn't lose attraction all at once because you cared too little. She loses it slowly because being around you stops feeling emotionally safe. And no, that does not mean you're weak. It does not mean you're broken. And it does not mean you were doomed from the start. You're not failing at love, bro. You're probably repeating a pattern you were never taught to see. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the one mistake that quietly turns connection into distance, why it happens beneath the surface, and what makes a woman feel close to you instead of closed off from you. Let's get into it. Most guys believe attraction fades because they stopped saying the right things, texting enough, or doing enough to keep her interested. But the real truth is deeper than that. A woman usually doesn't pull away because of one bad line, one missed date, or one imperfect moment. She pulls away when her nervous system starts reading your presence as pressure instead of peace. That's what nobody explains. Your partner's nervous system is reading you before her mind can even catch up. She feels the tone before she processes the words. She feels the emotional temperature before she can name what's wrong. And here's where most people miss it. What looks like her randomly losing interest is often her slowly feeling unseen, emotionally managed, or subtly unsafe in the connection. Not unsafe like danger. Unsafe like, I can't fully relax here. Unsafe like, if I tell the truth, this is going to turn into guilt, distance, defensiveness, or pressure. That's attachment playing out in real time. Because when someone likes you, they move toward you with openness. But when too many interactions start carrying tension beneath the surface, the connection begins to drift. Not because she wanted to stop caring, but because her body started protecting her from what her heart once wanted more of. So this video is not about tricks, not about manipulation, not about saying the perfect line. This is about the one mistake beneath all of it, making her feel emotionally responsible for your stability instead of emotionally safe in your presence. And once you see that clearly, everything else starts making sense. 1. Neediness in disguise. Here's the part no one talks about. Most couples don't fall apart because one person openly says, "Please don't leave me." Most people in relationships do something much harder to spot. They turn their longing into pressure. They ask for reassurance without calling it reassurance. They reach for connection, but it lands as obligation. That's the deeper truth. When you need her to constantly prove she likes you, your nervous system starts leaning on her to regulate you. And she feels it. She may not say it out loud, but beneath the surface, she feels like she has to keep your emotions steady. That changes the whole emotional tone. Because attraction needs connection, yes, but it also needs space to breathe. And when she feels like your mood rises and falls based on how she texts, how she looks at you, or how quickly she replies, something in her starts whispering, I can't relax around this. Here's what that sounds like in real life. Disconnecting version. Why are you being dry today? You used to text me way more. Are you losing interest or what? Connecting version. You seem a little off today. No pressure, just checking in. If something's on your mind, I'm here. Same desire, very different energy. One demands reassurance, the other offers presence. And when you do that, she stops feeling like she has to manage your emotions and starts feeling safe enough to move toward you on her own. 2. Turning every moment into a test. And this is the one most couples never figure out. Most couples don't realize how often they test each other instead of meeting each other. Most people in relationships are not communicating directly. They're creating little emotional exams. They withdraw to see who chases. They get cold to see who notices. They drop hints to see who really cares. Sounds small. It isn't. Because beneath the surface, testing says, I don't trust connection unless it reads my mind first. And the person on the receiving end feels that tension immediately. She starts feeling like there's always a hidden correct answer. Like one wrong move, and now she's failed some unspoken standard she didn't even know she was being graded on. That creates walls fast. Not because she doesn't care, but because nobody feels close in a relationship where love starts feeling like a pop quiz. Watch the difference. Disconnecting version. She says, I'm tired. You say, cool. Then go distant, hoping she asks what's wrong. When she doesn't, you think, see, she doesn't care. Connecting version. She says, I'm tired. You say, got it. You want space tonight, or you want company? That second response is clean. It's honest. It's emotionally available. Not punishing silence, not passive distance, not a loyalty test. Just clarity. And that's when the connection stops feeling like a game she has to win and starts feeling like a real place she can rest. 3. Making her feel wrong for having needs. This is where it gets really interesting. Most couples say they want honesty, but most people in relationships only welcome honesty when it comes in a calm, convenient package. The second her needs create friction, the room changes, the tone changes, your face changes, and even if you don't yell, she feels it. That matters more than you think. Because criticism and defensiveness hit the nervous system like a smoke detector. It cannot always tell the difference between conflict and rejection. So when she brings up something vulnerable and your energy says, here we go again, what she often hears is, your feelings are too much for me. And when a woman keeps feeling that, she doesn't usually get louder forever. She gets quieter, more polite, more withdrawn, more gone before she's actually gone. Look at the contrast. Disconnecting version. She says, I feel like you've been really distant lately. You say, I'm literally here, aren't I? Nothing is ever enough for you. Connecting version. She says, I feel like you've been really distant lately. You say, I don't want you feeling alone with me. Tell me where you felt it most. Bro, that line changes everything. Because now her brain is quietly registering, he didn't fight me just for telling the truth. That's huge. That's repair. That's maturity. That's not a communication hack. That's what it looks like when someone knows how to stay present without collapsing into defensiveness. And when you do that, the walls between you start to come down without either of you having to force it. 4. Only showing up strong, never real. But here's what nobody explains. Most guys think being attractive means always looking unbothered, always solid, always in control. Most couples are taught this silent lie. Strength means never letting your inner world be seen unless you've already cleaned it up first. That's not strength. That's distance. Because emotional intimacy is not built by performing confidence every second. It's built when someone feels your presence is real. Not dramatic, not messy without boundaries, not dumping everything on her, but real. A lot of men become so focused on appearing composed that they become emotionally unavailable without realizing it. She feels the polish. She feels the wall. She feels that she can be around you without ever actually reaching you. Here's the difference. Disconnecting version. She asks, "Are you okay?" You say, "I'm good." Short, closed, end of conversation. Connecting version. She asks, "Are you okay?" You say, "Yeah, I've had a lot on my mind. I'm handling it, but I don't want to disappear on you while I do." Man, that's powerful. Because what she hears is, he can be honest without making me carry it. That creates safety. That creates trust. That makes you feel emotionally available instead of emotionally hidden. And that's the shift that turns a connection from something shallow and performative into something real enough to live in. 5. Listening for defense instead of meaning. Here's the part that changes whole relationships. Most couples think listening means waiting until the other person stops talking. Most people in relationships are not actually listening for meaning. They're listening for accusation. They're listening for what they need to explain, correct, or defend. And the body feels that instantly. Because when she's speaking from hurt and you're listening like a lawyer, she doesn't feel met. She feels handled. She feels translated into a problem to solve instead of a person to understand. Emotional distance in a relationship isn't usually one big wall. It's more like scar tissue. It forms slowly over 100 small moments that never got repaired. 100 moments where she reached out and didn't feel received. Listen to the contrast. Disconnecting version. She says, "I miss how close we used to feel." You say, "So now I'm a bad boyfriend because I've been busy?" Connecting version. She says, "I miss how close we used to feel." You say, "You're not attacking me. You're telling me you miss us. I get that." That response is rare, and it lands deep. Because now something in her is saying, he actually heard the feeling beneath the words. That's turning toward. That's presence. That's what repair looks like before it even becomes a big conversation. And when you do that, your partner stops feeling like a problem to manage and starts feeling like a person you're finally coming home to. 6. Trying to win the moment instead of protect the connection. And here's what changes everything. Most couples treat conflict like a courtroom. Most people in relationships are trying to win accuracy, win logic, win the timeline, win the technical argument. But relationships are rarely destroyed by being imperfectly right. They're destroyed by making the other person feel emotionally alone while proving your point perfectly. That's the deeper pattern. When conflict starts, your nervous system often moves into protection. So does hers. One person gets louder, one gets withdrawn, one pushes, one shuts down. And now both people think they're fighting about the issue, when really, they're fighting to not feel powerless. That's why the same argument keeps happening in different clothes. The topic changes, the cycle stays. Here's the contrast. Disconnecting version. That's not what happened. You always do this. Why are you making this such a big deal? Connecting version. Maybe we remember it differently, but I can see it really hurt you. I want to understand before I defend myself. Not louder conversations, not more compromising, not pretending you don't have needs, but two people who actually value connection more than winning the round. That is maturity. That is leadership. That is what it looks like when a man protects the bond without abandoning himself. And when you do that, a fight stops feeling like the beginning of distance and starts becoming the place where deeper trust gets built. 7. Making her earn the warmth she was already giving you. This is the one mistake beneath the surface of all the others. Most couples don't lose connection because love disappears overnight. Most people in relationships slowly stop giving the very emotional energy that made the relationship feel alive in the beginning. Presence becomes assumption. Curiosity becomes routine. Gratitude becomes silence. And then they act shocked when the relationship starts to drift. But here's the truth. People stay where they feel felt. Not used, not managed, not kept around for comfort while being starved of emotional warmth. Felt. A woman can like you a lot and still slowly turn off if she starts feeling that her softness is being met with emotional laziness. Not because she's dramatic, not because she wants constant romance, but because beneath the surface, every human being is asking the same question. When I bring my heart here, do you notice? Here's what that looks like. Disconnecting version. She dresses up, shows up, asks about your day, reaches for you, supports you. You respond with half attention and assume she knows how you feel. Connecting version. You look at her and say, I noticed you've been showing up for me in a lot of quiet ways lately. I don't want that to go unseen. Or, come here for a second. I miss being with you when I'm with you. Simple, but real. Because intimacy isn't built in the huge moments. It's built in the 30-second ones, the look up, the soft answer, the hand on the back, the moment you turn toward instead of away. And that's the shift that turns a relationship that feels like emotional maintenance into one that feels like refuge. So if you take anything from this video, let it be this. The mistake is not being imperfect. It's not fumbling a text. It's not having needs. The mistake is creating a dynamic where she starts feeling pressure where she once felt peace, where she starts feeling managed instead of met, where she starts feeling your fear more than your presence. And the good news? That can change. Because this isn't about becoming smoother, it's about becoming safer, more real, more emotionally available, more capable of staying present when it actually matters. These aren't tips for getting a girl to like you again. They're the beginning of becoming the kind of man who knows how to create connection without controlling it, who knows how to repair instead of react, and who knows that real strength is not making someone stay, it's becoming someone they feel safe being close to.